Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Time with Jesus. And you know, a journey is a journey. Each day is what we take with it and how we present. I don't understand why in the world how he's gonna have such technically difficulties. Because the enemy loves to do that to us. But anyways, so you look at each day and we look at where we are and who we are under the power and authority of Jesus Christ. We know the enemy is coming, and we know that he is coming with a vengeance, especially for God's people. I mean, for the last, pardon me guys, I should have probably had all this set up before, but I see what the problem is. It's the operator. No, could be. No, it's broke. See? Broke. And there went something. Oh, it's just my wallet. Who cares? So anyways, just because the bracket's broke doesn't mean anything. We're still going to put this on. Because we can. Probably a little bit of cement glue on it. But, so, where are we at in life? Vicious attacks come and they go. It's like the water. The Lord says, it will come with a vengeance, but it'll soon disappear. But as it flows past you, you will eventually look and see what it's become. Well, I've always wondered, what exactly does that mean? You go through life and you start... I'm telling you, man, I got some OCD or something. Because I just cannot stop arranging stuff until it looks the way I want it. It's just weird. And it always seems like I'm going to do it. And the video's wrong. But no. But, the enemy is going to come at us in every direction that we can come in, okay? And when he starts attacking us, you just got to let him do what he does sometimes. Because it is overwhelming, people. I mean, truth is truth, but what is exactly is truth? Truth is only what you want to hear, what you want to take into your life, and what you're going to perceive as truth. That's what you're going to relate to, right? You're not going to go to somebody that it's going to tell you what you don't want to hear. You're going to go to somebody that you want to hear from, okay? So what does that mean? It means this. This is exactly what it means. Like if you want to get an opinion that you really want, and you really want to do something, you go to that person that's always just going to tell you whatever you want to hear. Because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Well, isn't that not the same as lying? When somebody asks you a question, how do I look? And you don't give them the total truth. Well, you look all right, whatever. Or you could just be saying that because they are really excited about what they're wearing, what they like. My thing is, if you like it, does it really matter what anybody else thinks? Because their opinions come and go. In this last few weeks, it's been, I should say years, but the last few weeks, it's just been chaos. Days come and go, holidays come and go, and, we just look at it and go, it is what it is, Check out this, what I found. I had these when I was little. Like I said, I was a big Goodyear blimp fan. And the crazy thing is, when I got rid of, there's a lot of stuff, I'm getting rid of another lot of stuff, but right now, but I had this Goodyear blimp semi-truck and a Hot Wheels Goodyear blimp that flipped. And I had another one that said the Fuji, or however you pronounce it on it. And I was like looking all over in the boxes. I'm like, damn, because I was going to put it on the shelf where the cars are. I built this little platform for it. And I must have, I don't know if that guy put it in with his stuff because he was looking at it. And I can't falsely accuse anybody, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened to it, but I just know I don't have it. But I found this. Now, I had a pink one, a blue one, a green one, and a yellow one when I was little. They're erasers, but I never would use it. Why am I telling you this? I don't know. Because it's going to be a good year. Good rest of the year. You know, it's difficult. It's difficult, and I know I came in a lot of different ways, and I know I received a lot of backlash for it. Nelson, that's not Christian-like. Listen, and I mean this out of all due respect. I mean this out of literally all due respect. I mean, I'm not trying to come against anybody. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. And I know I have not read a lot of the comments, but I've been told what some of them says. I had never once gave anybody's name who was pretty much saying this or saying that. I was just commenting in general about comments and people being there from the beginning and all that. And if it offended you, then you got to search something in yourselves, because I never once called out anybody. I'm just saying, basically, it is what it is. I refuse to bow down to Satan. I will never do it. I never have done it, and I'm not going to do it. I said it years ago that this channel is not basically everybody's going to like, because if you want watered down garbage, then you go find the watered down garbage. It's the same thing I was just telling you in the beginning. I'm not saying my way is the way. It's my way or the highway. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. Your opinion is your opinion. You are allowed to have that opinion. You know why? Because it's in the Constitution. Freedom of speech. And when you start throwing all this hogwash at people, but it gets me is a liar's a liar. Okay? If you make up the stuff in your head, but yet you go and tell people a bunch of crap that isn't true. You're going to be receiving this paper. You're going to be getting, a cease letter. Don't put my garbage. But then you're telling me to read stuff onto YouTube and Facebook. Isn't that kind of like filing not stalking, restraining order? Isn't it the same thing? You just broke your restraining order because you write this professional letter, blah, 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 blah. And to be honest, this is exactly how I read some people's stuff that they sent. I mean, I'm starting to hear, I'm going, what? Yeah. So it's almost like I am writing to update you on your status. Okay, and recall there were denial issues, okay? And if you don't cease my family, blah, 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 blah. That's what I hear out of the majority of this stuff. I take it with a grain of salt. First of all, you need to read the crap that you wrote. I mean, I sent that over to the sheriff's department. I sent it over to the detective, and both of them told me the same thing. It's basically, they're on a fine line of, you can flip something on them right now, because basically what they are doing is bullying you and harassing you. It's kind of like another member of the family. In reality, if she would have listened to me, but instead she gets wrapped up in everybody else's hogwash, it becomes this. They all talked about you saying what a habitual liar and all this stuff is. And even then, I stood up for you. I'm not standing up for you no more. Because you have the cojones And I don't care what you say. Oh, it's always you, pity me, wham, wham, wham. Tired. We're all tired of listening. Why don't all of you come and tell me to my face then? I don't understand how we got to call somebody else to check up on somebody else, and I'm still trying to comprehend that. And I understand their site and how to look at it, but I still don't understand why you just could not call. If not me, why did you not call Darlene then? I don't especially when you go to a devil. I mean, a devil of all people. I mean, the way this all came out, that two people come together and they were attacking me. They were adultery this, adultery that, adultery this. And then I had to go off on the rampage and clear the air with this fake WWE bullcrap. People, all them people won. If you look at the little top, it has the thing, but it's another person's channel. All they want is money. Because they take you off to these private sites and then become like your best friend, and you're going to date and all this crap and blah, 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 blah. And then they want you to invest in something. And from what I was understanding from this detective and the sheriff, I don't know if it was the sheriff, but I definitely know it's the detective. But what they're doing is getting people to believe you're purchasing a meet and greet pass. You're getting this big box they put this box specially together just for you because they want to be with you. And in order to be with you and for you to come and see them, I'm just like listening to this going, oh my gosh. Do you really believe that this is all true? I mean, how do you justify this stuff? You know what I'm saying? How do you believe this crap? But let alone, how in the hell does people that know me really, and I say it all the time, people, you get to know how people really look at you and what they think about you. Because words don't lie. Once you put a word out there, whether if it's true or not true, you can destroy somebody. See, the time is coming. We look at the erection in the sky that this library thing that Obama's doing, and I don't really care what it is, people. I know we're getting close to one world order. I know we're getting close to Bitcoin being the new currency, and that's why everybody's starting to use this Bitcoin, and everybody's getting more and more familiar with it. And you don't even realize you're really doing this. People are investing in this. Let me read this comment to you. Greetings, Nelson. Yeah, brother, I don't know what's been going on, but I'm with you. I'm not going to walk away. I'm not going to assume that I know what you're going through, because I don't. My family and I, also with my family, my wife and my two children, they come before my biological family. Okay. But before that is God and Jesus. I know you can relate to this because I've heard you also speak this. This is what kept me interested in your channel. I've read a lot of the comments, and I've been going back and forth and looking at a lot of comments that people have written or have said and continue to rip you down and tear you apart. But where I'm going with this is this. How in the world can these people claim to be your children, or claim to be a friend, or claim to be someone on YouTube world? I don't mean to laugh, but YouTube world. That's about what that's about what it's about what it is. It freaking YouTube world is about as jacked up as the regular world anymore. You have put your heart and soul out in here, and you have taken a lot of lashings. It takes a lot of courage. I have a lot of respect for you. No, I'm not putting you up on a pedestal. I'm just saying I have a very, very lot of respect for you. I don't know if I could do the things that you have done. I don't know if I would want to. But then again, God doesn't call us all to do this. I believe with your background, and yes, I do agree with this also. I did go and watch your video because I too came from the Randy K platform. But I do, and I believe in what you've said on there. But I went and watched your held testimony on here. Word for word, man. It's like it's engraved into your mind and it's tattooed on your heart. I had a person come against me in the church that I go to currently come against me because I went and I got another tattoo. They said that the tattoos are the mark of the devil, and that they were going to go to the elders, yeah, they were going to go to the elders and ask if they could try to get me removed from the church, being that I have a new tattoo. Hold on. You know, I talk about tattoos, and I have tattoos myself. Yes, I got tattoos before I was a Christian. You know, I do know it speaks about the markings and piercings and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I really say about tattoos is you can look at the people, how fast. Look at like Justin Bieber's and that kind of stuff. Them people get so, because they lose sight of what they surrendered into. So what do? They go out and tattoo their faces. When they start tattooing their faces, that's trying to show control back. I know I'm in control of my flesh. You're not. You may be in control of your flesh. We all are. We're in control of our free will. But where does it take you? Down memory lane? Heck no. It takes you down in a pit that you may not come out of. So what's your thought on tattoos? That's my thought on tattoos. I would say as long as you're not putting Baal or Lucifer or 666, you know, people was even coming against that. You know, 666 is not this and this and that. Let me tell you right now. And honestly, I don't even remember who was telling me about this, but just let me tell you something. Numbers in the Bible mean something. The numbers in the spiritual of hell and seances and candles and everything else means something, even in the demonic. So, you know, if that's the case, then why do we hold the 777? Why do we say, you know, that's God's number and all that? Because somewhere down the line, and I'm not a big on the number things. I just believe that God does everything in numbers, dates, times, everything's done for a purpose, plan, and reason. Otherwise, there's no need in it. But if you look at what it stands for and what people use it for, good example, look at the rainbow. We know that was God's promise. He'd never flood the earth again. But look what the gay community uses it for. It's a mockery of God. So if 666 is a mockery of the 777, then why do we have the 777? It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, God says clearly in Revelation, do not add or take anything away from this world. That's why the Mormons thing, I have a huge problem with that, because you're adding the book of whatever. I think his name's John too. I mean, to be honest with you, it's been a long time since I've looked into the Book of Mormon. You know, yeah, they believe in Jesus Christ. I forget the whole thing. To me, it falls right on the guideline of Jehovah's Witnesses of the devil, because I've never in my life seen so many wrong things, and I hate to say it, people, but and if you're Jehovah, I'm sorry. That is way out there. I mean, way. I think if I had a choice between being a Jehovah's Witness or a Mormon, I would side with the Mormons. To be honest with you, the Amish, however you want to pronounce it, I say it both ways because, first of all, it should be the way they want because they are truly God people. I'm not talking about the modern ones. I'm talking about the ones that actually live off the land, and because they dress different than us, we want to look at it. Well, you know what? You ever look at some of their clothing? The man's pants, the dresses, and slacks or whatever they want to call it. You look at their shirts. Their women make that stuff. I seen an Amish person a couple weeks back at the flea market, and he was standing there, and I was just he was looking at the tables and stuff, and I was just sitting there looking at it, and I'm going, I wonder what they're thinking right now. I wonder what they're thinking in their heads, going, wow, I would never pay this kind of money for this stuff, or what is some of this stuff? And I got thinking, going, when is God enough? Now, I'm not saying that God doesn't want us to have personal things that we like to do and stuff. I mean, I got shelves full of them. The one model down there is so jacked up. I hate that thing. Every time I look at it, I just want to go over and rip it apart. But it's broken like me, people. And I've never in my life thought ever I was going to have to go through what I'm going through right now. And it is hard, And the bad thing is I was listening to Darlene today, and she was explaining to me about her faith and kids and, how they use the granddaughter still even against her. She didn't do anything wrong because she disagrees with them. She disagrees with her daughter. Now they're holding the granddaughter again. I've never seen such retarded stuff in my life. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody by the word retard. I'm not calling it. If you have a mentally challenged person in your life, I'm sorry. They can't help it how they were born, okay? And you can't take away why did God do that. Sometimes we just got to let God be God. Right? It's just sometimes. Every other time we're in control. No, we got to know that God's doing it for a reason. God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. God doesn't give you anything that he doesn't want you to handle. Deep down inside somewhere, he knows that you're the perfect person to love that person. There is buildings and buildings and buildings of children that need adopted. But if we can't have an infant raise it, what are they, rejects? It's like Rudolph, when he promised the Misfit Toys he was going to come back because nobody wants to play with the Charlie in the box. When in reality, even as a child, I'm like, well, just change your name to Jack then. Put your name as Charlie Jack box and just go by Jack. Problem solved. I used to think like that. Nobody wants to play with the polka dotted elephant or a squirt gun that shoots jelly. Well, stop putting damn jelly in the squirt gun, and you won't have that problem. But the truth of it is, they're on an island of misfit toys. So are we. We're on this island of misfits. We don't belong here. We don't fit in here. Just like the Amish clothes. But in the long run, I bet you when things go south, and they're here, maybe the majority of them got taken home. Maybe there will be some left here. You don't know. But the only thing I'm saying is, I bet you a lot of you will be flocking over to them because they know how to raise their food and their animals, and they know how to butcher their animals. And well, maybe they take them down to a butcher. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do it themselves. Who knows? I agree with some people. I do agree with this. I also have tried to make conversation with them, trying to learn about their culture. It's like they don't even want to talk to you. And to me, that, yeah, I mean, I have a problem with that because of the Christian faith. Um, I don't get it. I don't get it at all because um, I don't know. It's even like I actually talked to a lady, truck driver. And she was, I think she was at Creed, but she got out of that part of that. She became like the modern ones, I guess, that believes in water, electricity. I mean, they believe in water, but I mean, running water into the house, electricity, TVs and stuff, stuff like we take for granted every day. We got to have it. It's like, ooh, got my favorite shows on. Your favorite shows are on, but you didn't give God any time. That's where the problem comes in. But I look at it and go, then why is it the way it is? We can look at life in a lot of different ways, people. But we got to just stop pointing fingers at people. If you want to jump on a bandwagon to a bunch of people that's going to talk about you, because the very people that you're trying to help basically called you you're a constant habitual liar. They said it about you, not me. I was just repeating what they said. But you are becoming an habitual liar. And everybody I called out, every family member I called out, how do you not justify it, And yeah, I did say about the knife. Here, I sharpened them. I ran across a post when I was going on Facebook Marketplace today. And it said something about, it's not the knife. It's one of the Joker things, and I don't like using it, but I don't know how to take it off and just put it. I guess I could have just wrote it down, but then I didn't want a copyright thing or something. I don't know. I'm so paranoid anymore. And it sucks. I mean, it really does. But, I mean, I cover myself in whatever, and it's like I'm constantly explaining stuff, constantly going into that defense mode. In reality, my defender is Jesus Christ. I need to get back to that. I need to get back to not caring what people think, but it goes on to say it's not the knife that hurts. It's when you turn around and see who it is that hurts. That is so freaking true. That's why I posted it on there, because it is true. It is so true. When you turn around and see who the one just shoved that knife in your back, that's a bad day. Very bad day. And people just want to believe and see what they want. There is no, there's no logic to the thinking, I guess. And I just keep pushing forward, and I'm going, why do we have this? Why do we have such hatred in the world? Because we're coming to the end. The devil's playground is exactly what it is. It is just opening up, and people love it. Well, you could be miserable, you could be happy, you could be glad, you could be sad. But I'll tell you one thing, when you enter into the kingdom of hell, you're going to be screaming. If I told you to cut your eyelids off and feed yourself full of sleeping pills, would you do it? I know a lot of you are probably thinking right now, he's definitely lost his mind. No, I'm asking you a legit question. I would probably say out of 100, 99% would say no. You always have them few that's going to say, yeah, I'd do it. Just be a smart butt. Reality, they wouldn't do it. Isn't that what you're doing when you go out and sin? You're basically cutting yourself loose from the living water. You're cutting yourself loose from the vine. You're cutting yourself loose from the thinking, righteousness. And unfortunately, everything crashes, people. Everything. Everything will eventually go out of date. out of service. You don't want it expires. The food is rotten. I was, what was I doing? I was making a lunch. And I was going through there and I was looking at the cantaloupe and the strawberries and stuff, and I'm like, damn, this stuff molds pretty fast. And well, granted, I mean, it's been, I don't know when it's got cut up, but you would still think that stuff would last longer than it does, but that's what happens with us. We start decaying when we are away from Christ. When we start doubting what God's capable of doing, and we can fix it, you're on the highway to hell. That's all I can tell you. I want to play this song. I'm hoping it's not like I'm using it for a theme song or anything. It's on YouTube, so they sure in the heck can't get me on copyrights on this. And then I'll go back and finish reading that paper. But for some reason, I just want to play this song to you guys. If I can get this phone to unlock. Like, gosh, I got to have passwords on everything because I'm hacked. I mean, literally, people. All the way down to my personal bank account card got hacked. Discovery, Capital One, eBay account, PayPal. I think the only thing that didn't get hacked that I know of is, and I'm going to have to look it up and see, is my Home Depot card. I should say my Home Depot account. I don't know, man. You know, all I know is hold on a minute. Oh man, that ain't gonna make no sense. Hold on a minute, guys. I do apologize. I guess the best way to put that, I started to send you a text, so I think part of it went. So basically, what I was trying to mean by that is each day we have an opportunity to change yesterday. Today is just starting because we're after the 12 o'clock hour where I'm at in Eastern time. Where you are, it is 10 o'clock. So you have yet not met your new day. So just know that the enemy doesn't stop. He doesn't sleep. God doesn't sleep. You know, we should be grateful for that. The fact that God doesn't sleep, not that the enemy doesn't sleep. The enemy's out to rob, kill, and destroy you. Everything about you. I mean, everything about your marriage, everything about your children. He's going to go after your children. Trust me on this. He's going to go after your children because of love. What God did, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Yeah, you got to start praying for your children's protection. You know, you brought them up in a godly home, so they shouldn't be able to be buckled too easily. But start paying attention to the very things they're going. You know, is their activities changing? Is there what they're going through changing? Is life changing? Or Are they bringing in anything that they normally haven't? Are they involved in new games that they normally haven't done? All these things point to something, and in order to stop it, you have to take control back of your household. Somewhere down the line, you let this go because it's work or the mishaps and the things that you're going through with your wife. But, God is God. And Lord Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And He gave us a guideline. He gave us a way to live life. And the Bible's full of every problem we have. It's got an answer for it in the Bible. I don't know, man. All I know is this. I don't know your wife. I've never talked to your wife. I've talked to you. I know your side, and I see what you're saying, and I understand. For somebody to stop really wanting to be around you, talking, buying new clothes, working out, tanning, getting their nails done, getting her hair done when she normally doesn't do all that. Why? Why now? It has nothing to do with the job. What does it have to do with? Satan's convincing people that you're lonely. They don't want to be with you. Even though you're trying, but they don't want to. And I'm just going to throw it out there. One of the very important things in a marriage, and it's not everything. I mean, I'm not saying it's the most important of all things. We are a nature of physical attraction. We are, that intimacy, which also puts fragrances up into heaven. God gets a different fragrance out of everybody's connection and their intertwine of their spirits. But what happens is excuses start happening. And once it starts happening, it starts breaking down the part of the marriage, because that is part of that marriage part. It's part of that intimacy. It's part of that. Your souls start separating. They no longer become one. When you ever get into that minute, this is why I've spoken about having sex and making love. Because having sex has no meaning to it. You're just jumping into a bed and you're hoping for the best. The guy, most likely, it's even women these days, they just use. You're just another notch on the headboard or the lipstick case, however you want to put it. But you have to think something here, man. There's a reason behind it. I mean, you got to figure out what it is. You just got to start playing detective and look. Your daughter could be depressed because she sees what's going on that you don't see. They might be dropping little hints to you, or they might be leaving notes or writing stuff, or check their Facebook, check their social media sites and stuff. I don't know. I just know that I guess I'm with you, because you do have that special feeling when you're in that intimacy. And when you're in that intimacy with the person that you're with, and then excuse. See, that's usually what starts happening is you start looking. Now, it doesn't make it right. I'm not saying to make it right. All I'm saying is you can't fall into that sickness, man. You got to fight. You got to get on your knees and start praying for your family. I'll start praying for your family. But I'm also going to pray for God's will and God's to give you that sight of really what's happening here. It may be nothing, man. Maybe she's just trying to get your attention again. Maybe she's trying to re-spark something. Maybe she doesn't get enough compliments from you. Satan, to battle Satan, you got to know Satan, and that's the problem. That's why you should start watching these videos more, because I'm not saying I'm a master at all, but I sure in the heck can always seem to help somebody else but myself. God bless you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching the channel and stuff. But please subscribe, man. Really. Help me out too. Okay. God bless you. And shoot me an email and I'll go into more detail for you. Okay, and just in case you don't have it, it's NWROBINS777 at hotmail.com. 1B, yes. Just before you even ask. 1B. Because of being hacked and going through all the stuff that I've been talking about. So, God bless you, man, and I do appreciate you. Bye. And done. All right. God, gosh, man. Let me find it here.
I remember those long dark nights when fear would creep into my mind, whispering lies about my future, trying to leave my faith behind. He'd tell me I was too broken, too far gone to be redeemed, reminding me of every failure and every shattered dream. He'd show me all my weaknesses, every scar and every fall, trying to make me believe that God didn't hear my call. But every time the darkness gathered and the shadows closed the door, I found a strength that wasn't mine, like I'd never known before. Because the enemy may whisper, but he doesn't own my soul. The one who saved me at Calvary is still in control. When the devil knocks, I call on Jesus. When the devil knocks, I stand on his name. When the devil knocks, I don't fight alone, because my Savior already overcame. The battle belongs to the Lord. The victory's already won. So when the devil knocks, I answer with the sun. I've seen families torn apart. I've seen hearts weighed down by shame. I've seen addiction steal the years and leave people chained. I watched fear become a prison for souls who lost their way. I've seen the enemy working hard, trying to lead them astray. But I've also seen redemption. I've seen chains break and fall. I've seen the power of Jesus Christ answer every desperate call. I've seen prodigals come home. I've seen miracles unfold. And every single one reminds me God is still in control. The lion may be roaring, but he's already been.
That's pretty much it. Oh, gosh. I hate when my feet slide off this. It's like, I can't get comfortable in anything I'm sitting in. But either way, guys, think about life. We get stuck, okay? We get stuck. In reality, we have this power that we tend not to use. Just calling on the name of Jesus will change a lot of things in your life. But you gotta want Jesus. You have to stop this faking and acting and going through whatever you think that you can or can't do. We can't, we can do, and it's like, I hate to say it like this, but you ever, you know, we even really got to watch what we say sometimes, because it's like I'm to the point I really don't even want to talk anymore. I'm to the point where I don't even want to respond to something because I'm I'm thinking I got to say everything a certain way. A good example. Do you ever get to a point where you just say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this, and then you hear quickly people saying, well, you can't do it, but Jesus can do it through you. True. But I got to be willing to do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I believe that. I know that. I've watched God do some amazing miracles. And I've been a part of it. He's used me. But what does it mean? It means you got to be willing to listen to God. You got to be willing to go to that prayer time. And so many people say, well, I pray to Jesus, so, he's the Son of God. He's God manifested in human flesh, blah, 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 blah. So, and I actually was on a kind of like a Bible study thing, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, these people are from a different country. That's all I'm going to say. They have to hide to talk about the Bible. They got to hide to glorify Jesus. They have to hide people. And I thought it was like, yeah, right, but no, it's true. I mean, I was on video with them. And, you know what the most amazing part about it is? I go on there and we're talking about stuff, and it's almost like I get to the point kind of like I do on here, just start talking and preaching about stuff, and I said, well, I'm no preacher here. I don't have a certificate saying I graduated. They don't care. They don't care. That certificate means nothing to them. That Bible means everything to them. You're bringing the Bible to life to them. That's what they love. And these people are amazing people. And they asked me what happened because they've been trying to reach me on Facebook and everything. And I told them I'd shut it down for a bit because of what was happening and what I was being accused of. And then it dawned on me. Facebook, where all that stuff with the WWE crap started, and people changing profile pictures. Well, nobody can do that, but the person that is not freaking true. If you leave your sites and stuff open, people can get into your stuff. People can hack. If they can hack your bank accounts and they can hack your credit cards, you don't think that they can get on there and change your personal pictures and stuff. But here's the interesting thing that I never told anybody. Listen to this now. I changed my status a long time ago on Facebook on, the marriage, single, that kind of blah, 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 blah stuff. That, well, this person's saying they're still single and they're married. Who cares? Who cares? Why do we spend so much time trying to find fault? Because you yourself are miserable. Misery loves company, they say, and I'll be damned if that is not the truest statement I've ever seen. I've never seen a bunch of people want to go out and destroy a godly person, especially you fake-ass Christians that claim to be Christians. When this world comes crashing down, and it's coming, what are you going to cling to? Because God's people are going to be gone, and Jesus Christ is not going to be able to hear you. But I'll tell you what you are going to hear. The gnashing of the teeth. You're going to hear people screaming from hell. And it's going to be too late because then you're going to have to lose your head. You're going to... What if God says, okay, fine. Y'all didn't want to listen. It took me 1,000 years to create one day. So we got 7 days in a week. We agree with this? So if 1 week, 1 day was 1,000 years, so that's 7,000. 1,000 years was 1 day. So that would be 7,000 years for 1 week. Are you willing to spend that much time? Well, it doesn't matter. You're going to spend eternity in hell anyways. But what I'm saying is, what if you have an opportunity to basically convince God to show him that you finally made a mistake, but now you made that mistake right? You really think you're going to get beheaded right away? No, it's going to come through the periodic thing of the 3.5 years. Just like when Jesus went into the wilderness 40 days. It doesn't say he was tempted every day in that 40 days. It just says that Lucifer was there. He's all over. He's all over your life. He's like a leech that just keeps moving around your body and sucking more blood out of you, and you're complaining about it hurting. Well, if you don't get the damn leech off of you, it's gonna hurt. Well, Nelson, you think you're perfect. You think, no, I don't think I'm perfect. So some of you keep posting this stuff and sending me this garbage. That's your opinion, okay? Yeah, I'm far from thinking I'm perfect. I can be. What'd you say? You heard me. I can be. What is perfect, though? Perfect is... Hold on, I gotta fix this pillow. Perfect is living like Jesus. Perfect is thinking like Jesus. Perfect is living with the love that God has. I could be as close as that as I want to get to. You hear me? I can be as close to that as I want to be. Or I can have it all. All I got to do is stop doing the other things. Let the world come and beat you. Let them turn the other cheek. That's what the Lord's been teaching me these last couple of weeks. When did you stop turning the other cheek? When I didn't want to go head to head with family, children. That my heart was burdened by it. I couldn't fight because of love. And I kept telling myself the Bible over and over, what the Bible speaks. And it's not them that I'm fighting. It's the flesh and blood of what's in them. I just couldn't do it. But when you're dealing with the devil, when the devil doesn't listen. Because I'm clearly reading the messages. And I don't understand how in the world you can justify that your opinion is the only opinion that matters. Everybody's siding on one side because, you know why? They don't want someone looking at them, at the stuff they said, and go, well, wait a minute. Did you not falsely accuse him of this? He's proved the point. And then I get another person that her daughter, blah, 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 and I'm thinking, and then she sends me this awful freaking message. Then the mom's sending me all this, jumping on the bandwagon, chewing me out. Don't even know it. So then I end up doing a video call with this person and said, no, your daughter did say this stuff. She said it on Tamara's post, and it was the Sheets one. That supposedly I pulled in Sheets. I never pulled in Sheets that day. I drive by it. I have no choice but to drive by it unless I go the long freaking way to where I was going, and I would never do that. Nor if I seen my daughter, I would have went over and said something to her. I mean, it just blows my mind. And then to tell me because you were mad, that's why you posted it. But you don't go and erase it. You don't go and make it right. You don't go and tell people, hey, this wasn't true, because you don't want someone to look down on you. So you leave it. Then everybody uses you to come on here and tear me down. And when that's done, which is done now because I haven't heard from anybody. Matter of fact, I bet you a lot of people is probably starting to look at all the stuff that I've said in these last videos, and probably is sitting there going, he's on to something. He's keep repeating the same stuff in all these videos. There's something here that we're missing. The truth is what you're missing. God is truth. And to answer another person's question that I was on the process of doing, no, I do not believe God and Jesus is the same. What I believe is God is the living Father. Jesus was made in the image of God because he knew we were going to have to be able to see him. What did Jesus say? If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. You've seen the Father, you have seen me. That is not saying that he is there. Because if that's the case, if people are literally believes this nonsense, then why are we reading the Bible? Because then it's a lie. Because one thing comes back void, everything's voided. Who did Jesus pray to then? Himself? Why would you go and pray to yourself? That'd be like me going in the night going, Nelson, forgive me for I have sinned. No problem, Nelson. It's okay. Just don't go do it again. Nelson, I didn't tithe this week because of, I wanted to go buy this and that and candy and whatever. Well, it does say to give with a caring heart, a delighted heart. How many of you tithe because you just feel like everybody's watching you? Or how many of you tithe because you think you're going to get something of great return, because you get these people going, you get these people and these pastors and stuff saying, give to the kingdom of God and God will resow back to you. Yes, God does say, but look how God takes care of us. I tithe. Oh, he's leaving his wife out because I'm talking about myself right now. I can't stand when people say this. Well, I'm part of it, this and that. I mean, I got like 3 emails. Well, what you're saying is, but you got this person's a part. When you talk about yourself and your feelings, do you include your family, your spouse, your dog, your cat, your bird, your goldfish? Are you including all of them into how you're feeling about yourself and what you feel? I'm just talking plain about myself right now. How I feel. My feelings. I'm entitled to that. Everybody is. But it's the thing of it is, we have to always find a loophole in it. We got to find that clause. We got to find that area to condemn you. That's all the enemy looks for. It's sad. I mean, it truly is sad. It truly is sad that what this world is coming to. I mean, it just gets to a point where you just go, I've had enough. I sit here and yawn and I go crawl in that bed and I can't sleep. I go to the doctor's tomorrow morning at 7, 8 o'clock, I think. About to ask him for some damn sleeping pills or something. I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. Counting sheep. I'm tired of counting them little bit. I'm about to go blow them and shoot here. Another one bites the dust. Oh, no, so you can't say that. That's a Freddie Mercury song. And he was this and that. And it's exhausting. everybody has a right to their opinion. But if it doesn't match the Bible, I don't want to hear it. If it's not a scripture saying what you see in me that I'm doing, you can't just start doing something, people. It has to be in you, okay? You just don't wake up and go, this is what I'm going to do today. Some people do, but they already got possession of things in them. God is in control if you put him there. You know, when he said, let's go and let's make man in the image of us. Us is a key word there. Why would God say that if him and Jesus is the same person? He's got his DNA, yes, because God created him at the image of himself. He has that authority that God has given. So in a way, he's a God. You know, yes, he's just like God. But they're still two different people. They both deserve the same respect in prayer time. Because Jesus says, go to my Father in the most secret place and be still. You know, why would Jesus say that? Why was, when Jesus came up out of the water after being baptized by John the Baptist in Jordan over there, why did he say, for this is my son, I am well pleased? Why would God say that? Why wouldn't he just say, hey, this is me, I'm using this over interlock, whatever that thing's called, voice. Believe what you want to believe, okay? I really don't get irritated, but I really get tired of trying to explain God and Jesus being, yes, the same flesh, but two separate people. And then the Holy Spirit comes into it, where the Holy Spirit is this, and you're going to get... I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying I'm a pro on heaven either, but I've never seen the Holy Spirit, physically spirit, in heaven. Maybe it's just a helpmate here on earth, and it doesn't exist when you go to heaven. I don't know. I never think about asking. You know why? Because it's not a very important question that I'm going to waste trying to figure something out. My thing is, I want to please God every step of the way that I take. In order to please him, I must be in the righteousness of him. I must be ready to serve him. I must be ready to lay my life down. I can go on with the must be's. How many would you like me to continue on? I say that because people want to challenge you on everything that you're doing. Everything. When you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you shall fear no evil. You should fear no evil if you're doing the right things. God is great. I love my time with him. I love speaking with his son, the Lord Jesus Christ, the living flesh of God. I love spending that time. I love spending time with this group because they don't judge me. They love me for who I am. They don't know my past. They just let me preach. They just let me talk about Jesus and talk about America. And I said, I'm not probably the right one to talk about America. They want to know how I feel about it, my thoughts, my opinion. Now, I can honestly say that there's only about 2 or 3 people that I know on this earth that actually gives a shit what I'm going to say or not say. He cussed again. Look at that. Well, when your mind is trying to play catch up, judge me how you wish. But I will say, I still don't have no dang stone. I'm going to bring one down. I'll use this for a stone. Here. Take the stone from my hand. You without sin may throw the first stone at me. I'm glad, because some of you got some pretty big stones you want to throw at me. But I'm glad Jesus is in control of my life. I lay my life down at his feet. That's where I want to be every second of my life. Well, I didn't get done what I wanted to get done. But God's time, God's will. All I can say is tune in for the next one. God bless you guys. I love you. Until the next one.